The main objectives of the decarbonisation programme within the department is to meet our 2030 targets and also to be net zero by 2050. What we've tried to do is target a cross-section of school types, primary schools, post-primary schools, different ages, different building types, different construction types, to get specific learnings out of them, because the delivery of decarbonisation is not a one-stop-fits-all approach.
Every building's different. You'll meet numerous challenges in relation to structure, in relation to occupancy, but you have to deal with them sympathetically.
Every principal is different. Every set of students and teachers are different. But at the end of the day, they all want the same result, an improvement of their own environment.
Well, it was a really unpleasant building to come into. It was dark, it was gloomy. We had a lot of problems with the roof. There was mould and spores. No matter how much heat and oil we poured into the school, it was never warm.
You used to have to wear like hats and scarves inside and gloves because it was so cold, and the roofs were quite, they were falling apart.
Every part of our building really was in serious need of repair. Following the retrofit, it is, as good if not better than a new school because we are using our existing building. A phenomenal amount of work done in a very short space of time.
With the broadest stretch of my imagination, I never imagined that in the relatively short period that the builders came in and completed the retrofit, that we would end up with a school as magnificent as we have now.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, everything's more like modern, like the bathrooms are terrible. Now they're so nice, like everything just generally amazing.
It is fabulous. It is bright, it is clean, it is fresh. Much nicer environment to work in and for the children to learn in. The fact that it's bright, our lighting before was okay, but I suppose we didn't realise how bad it was until we see the lighting now, the difference that it does make. The general comfort of the whole building just makes it a much more pleasant working environment for children and for staff.
So absolutely embrace it wholeheartedly. If the building that you have, if you're happy with that, it can absolutely be deep retrofitted and refurbed.
The reuse of an existing school building in deep retrofitting, there's so much embodied carbon in the concrete and the steel, and this is why I'd be such a strong advocate for it, because you're reusing the existing structures and you're not wasting energy, and the school are getting the benefit in both.
We had very little control over our energy expenditure in the school, so we could never budget and plan for it. We were totally dependent on the weather, so if we had a very sharp winter, a cool autumn, we could have a very high bill. Well, I think our highest ever was 43,000 for oil. Our hopes were that the energy bills would be reduced. That's one thing. We had an expectation then around the aesthetic as well, that it would look, a different, refreshed was all we were hoping for. Then we've moved to biomass, so it's a much cleaner fuel. This is, I never realised until it went that there's a kind of a slight smell of the oil, and there's a stuffiness. It's a much cleaner sort of energy that we have in the school now. And as for the external, it was way beyond our expectations. It looks like a new modern building, and it goes back to 1968, most of it. I would say definitely grab the opportunity with both hands. If you get the opportunity to do it, definitely go for it.
Definitely for the environment now, it's benefiting, and sure, everyone has to do their part in this, so I think the school has definitely done their part by putting in this project. In the winters last year now, it was tough, because you'd have the coats on, but with this year now, you don't even need the coats in the school, because after the upgrades put in, it's a good temperature through the summer, through the winter, all around here.
On a new build, you're covering all elements of a project from the ground up, whereas in a retrofit, you're working on an existing building. You're working around building users. For example, on school projects, summer holidays is a pretty intense period to get the works done.
I suppose the academic year will finish in June and the students are coming back in September, so we know that's our programme. We know our scope. We have to make sure that we achieve them dates and we do everything to make it happen within that time frame.
So by doing that, we're not leaving the school to having to go into temporary accommodation. It can be programmed correctly that there's very little disruption.
I've been in this school for almost 20 years and I've never experienced the heating being cozy in a room. Being cozy in a room in this school was unheard of.
The school wasn't insulated. It was an old primary school that was going back to when I actually went to primary school in Bishopstown. It was here and it was the same buildings.
The biggest thing was to find out what the existing building fabric was made of. So we opened up, they drilled a hole through the external wall and we discovered that there was no insulation whatsoever. Using integrated environmental solution software, we modelled the building to see where the energy loss was happening and where were the best opportunities for arresting that and making it energy efficient. So that was our starting point, really. So the simplest method we could see, quickest one, was to wrap the building in insulation, really, and air tightness, and tighten the whole thing up and stop the energy loss. So that had a spin-off architecturally because it gave the building a new look on the outside as well. The optimum solution was the air-to-water heat pumps, combined with mechanical ventilation heat recovery, solar panels on the roofs. The air-to-water heat pumps provide a low temperature, so we would have needed large radiators within the space, and the optimum solution for us was to put large radiant panels on the ceiling, which didn't take up any space at all and provides enough heat. We used a heat recovery system to bring fresh air into the classrooms without losing heat by opening the windows. So it brings air around the school through a filter, making sure there's fresh air in the classrooms.
This program has gone on while school has been in session. So there's had to be a lot of collaboration between the design team, the school, the builders. It's had to be a lot of teamwork. It's short-term pain for long-term gain. There'll be maybe decades of long-term gains out of this project.
Absolutely amazing. Compared to what we came from, this is a dream. And the kids all love it. It's got everything they need and everything they want. They deserve it. They don't ask for very much, and a school should be fit for purpose.
So it shows that we can actually take old buildings, we can retrofit them, and we can turn them into, as the school might say, nearly as good as a new school.
It's going to be a big challenge to get every school in Ireland done to reach our targets, but it's something that we've found now that is very much achievable in the timeframes that we're required to do so. You want parents to send their kids to school in a safe and comfortable environment, and the retrofits do provide that in a shorter time. It's very much a rapid programme, and that improves the environment of the school 100%.
The importance of the Pathfinder programme is that it's paving the way for the rollout of a national retrofit for existing school stock built prior to 2008. To date, we have 42 schools completed, with another 24 schools at various stages of development and delivery, all progressing to a B or a B with a renewable heating system. So the next steps after this will be to create a scalable model and test the delivery of that model for a national rollout, as provided for in the National Development Plan.